You are listening to the Creative Talks podcast, presented by the Architectural Authority magazine.
I think my advice is something that I did early on in my career too, is not commit yourself to one company. Like early on in your career, try different things because each firm, architectural firm, specializes in different types of design.
Yeah.
So, try here, try there, get experience in construction, get experience in design, get experience
to see
in
what really you
yes,
like.
learn
What
the
are you
learn
good
the
at?
software, learn the techniques, learn Revit, learn CAD, learn all these things that you're building your tool chest.
Yeah.
And so that when you have all the tools and you collected experience, you can understand, okay, this is what I want to focus on, or this is what I want to pursue.
My recommendation to the young architects is study and go through the material. Don't get discouraged if you fail, because you're gonna fail the test.
It's part of it. Failing
You have
part
to
of
be
it.
patient with your process.
It's part of the
very
process.
patient.
And one day you'll have it.
This video is brought to you by the Stones & More Group, a leading wholesale distributor with over 2 decades providing top-quality porcelain, ceramic, slabs, mosaics, panels, and building materials, crafted to transform any space.
Welcome to Creative Talks, where we spotlight the creative minds shaping our landscape. Today, we're joined by 2 trailblazing women in Miami architecture. Michelle Lozano, AIA, project manager at Kobi Karp Architecture, brings a bold cross-disciplinary vision shaped by experience in LA, New York, and Miami. She's also dedicated mentor and leader with AIA Miami's Women in Architecture. Also, Sara Jimenez, AIA Senior Project Manager at Arquitectonica, blends over 20 years of design and construction expertise. Born in Mexico, Sara is known for her collaborative approach, mentoring spirit, and unstoppable energy, both in the studio and as a 2-time Ironman finisher. Let's dive into their journeys, their impact, and the future of architecture in Miami. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Hi.
coming. I'm super excited. You have no idea. I used to work as an architectural sales rep, and you were the kind of client that was
that you're trying to
the
look
top
for.
for us. So I was many times at Kobi Karp and Arquitectonica, always wishing to work with you guys. So very honored to have you here.
So much.
I would like to start by asking you a little bit about your careers, and then we want to explore everything that happens at Women in Architecture, because we really love what you guys do.
Okay.
So we can start with you.
Yeah,
You're from Colombia, right?
Yeah, I was born in the United States, raised here in Miami. My parents are from Colombia, Colombian from Bogota.
Mm.
I went to college here in Miami, and then I transferred out to Los Angeles to do my undergrad. I got my bachelor in architecture at SCI-Arc, and then I stayed in LA a couple years. I really enjoyed my time there, and then after I decided to pursue my graduate degree, so I moved then 5 years later to New York. And then in New York, I graduated at Columbia with my master's, and then I got a job at Arquitectonica. And it's funny because a lot of people think of Arquitectonica as Miami-based, but they have several.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have several offices around the world. And actually,
You worked together
Sarah's
at some point?
no, Sarah's at Arquitectonica right now.
In Miami.
Yeah. And then I love New York, and I decided to stay a while longer. As an architect, you experience the city and the culture, and it's
Must be
something that
amazing.
I think everyone has to experience at
Yeah.
some point, even if it's for a short amount of time. It was something unforgettable. And then the pandemic happened, 2021. 2020, 2021, and I decided, okay, 5 years had passed. I enjoyed my time there, and it was time to come back home. So when I came back to Miami, I decided to work at Kobi Karp Architects, which is where I am now, project manager. And during this whole journey between LA, New York, and Miami, I was also pursuing my licensure. So I was working on my exams. It's a very long process. It's a tedious process, but I accomplished it about 2 years ago. So now I'm a licensed architect in New York and in Florida.
Excellent.
And I'm currently working on single family homes, luxury high-rise residential, hospitality projects. So it's a little mix of everything based on my journey throughout. So it's about
doing an amazing
thank
job.
you. It's
Amazing
been about 10 years now, actually. This year marks my 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, and then coming to Miami, I got involved with Women in Architecture because I was in the middle of my exams. I wanted to finish it, and the exams are costly. It's something everybody understands that it's a financial hardship. So I had applied for the Women in Architecture grant that provides applicants with money to support them to finish their exam. So I had won the grant. I think it was 2022. And that's where I met Vanessa and Naomi, which were the past co-chairs and kind of our mentors that have worked with us in women architecture.
That's
And that's how we got
amazing.
involved with
I want to
AIA.
go back with that after Sara tells us
Yeah,
her
yeah.
story, because there must be a lot of people out there that don't know that there is a grant that they
Yes,
can apply for.
of course.
So let's talk about you. You have an
So,
impressive career as well.
longer. Longer. So I was born, raised, and educated in Mexico. So in 1999, I got married, and my husband was transferred to Miami. So I got here. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. So my first instinct was going back to school. So I started doing a lot of research, and all my research told me that I needed to go back to architectural school so I could get my registration here.
Because you studied architecture
Because
in
I
Mexico.
studied architecture in Mexico. So,
Okay.
but of course I'm stubborn, and I actually didn't plan it correctly. So I missed the deadline for my portfolio to submit the portfolio for architectural school, and all my application was in at FIU and everything, and I didn't want to wait another year because I wasn't working. I was a stay-at-home wife, which it was completely not for me.
No.
So I started looking into the different options that FIU had, and I found construction management. And I was always inclined to construction. I like construction, and I worked in Mexico in construction. So I went to and I got my master's degree in construction management. And after that, I started working at Spilis Candela, back then Spilis Candela and Partners. That became ACOM, and I started going. I was a construction administrative representative, which is basically you're doing all the construction. We back then there was a big school program with MDCPS, where they were going removing all of the portables and they were putting classrooms. So we had something like 45, 49 buildings going on at the same time, and they had to be done at the same time. So it was a great experience for me. And I continued my career in Spilis Candela ACOM, which became ACOM, and I ended up being there for 18 years. I started escalating, and I became eventually as a project manager, a senior project manager, and eventually I was an operations manager, which is like a projects manager, basically. And it was a lot of finances, and it's companies like AECOM get managed a little bit different. So in the moment that I started escalating, my architectural career kind of disappeared. They was pushed aside, and my interaction with clients and with projects was very, very limited. So after a few years, I redefined my success, what success meant to me. Because if you see it in paperwork, I was extremely successful.
Of course.
I was the only female operations manager in the region that went from New York all the way to Florida. I was managing a group of all female project managers in the Miami office. And I'm very, very respected, not only with the company but with the clients and everything. But I wasn't happy.
You wanted to feel.
I wanted to I went to architectural school for a reason, and I wanted to go back there. So I decided to leave ACOM with half of my heart there, with all the amazing people that I work with. And I made the move to Arquitectonica. So I am a senior project manager there. I work more into the construction part of it because of my experience. And so I I have worked like Michelle on high-rise residential hospitality, and now my project that is just breaking ground is the Miami Beach Convention Center Hotel, I'm basically going to lead the
Incredible.
construction team for Arquitectonica.
And you can be there on the field.
And I
for
can
the
be
team.
there on the field. I have the interaction with the clients. I'm looking at the project. So it's a completely, I'm so much happier.
And you like to have the boots and the cap.
I do.
You like
I do.
to
I
go to
have
the
a
site.
pink hard hat, and
Nice.
for a long time I used to have pink boots.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The last pair I bought, they were super uncomfortable, so I decided to stay away from that. But I do.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me because I walk in
You-
with my pink hard
Pink
hat, my
hard
pink
hat.
vest.
But I like the
Super
comment that
cool.
you said, that you're like, you realize what is the point of what I'm doing and what is the reason that I got into
Right.
architecture in the first place.
Uh-huh.
And when you get so much into construction or the
Yeah.
technical part of it, you're like, the aspect of design, that's
Yeah.
that's part of who we are. It's part
Yeah.
of how we train. So it's something that you miss, and then you kind of
Yeah.
I've been doing a little bit too much on this spectrum. Let me come
We'll
back.
go
Come back.
And
Yeah.
are you also on the field or more on
Occasionally,
the office?
yeah. So I have right now, I'm working on a historic preservation project in Miami Beach Shore Club. It has various parts to it. We have new construction, retrofitting and demolition of the existing site. So it's the good thing is that it's close by, so we can go on site. But it's probably like once a month that we go on site and we do about some
'Cause there's
walkthroughs.
not much action yet, maybe.
Not yet,
Yeah.
but soon. I'm
Soon
sure there will
will
be. Yes.
There will be.
And the other part to that also is architecture is so there's so much to architecture,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I've when I walk
There's
into my
so much.
to my interview in Arquitectonica, the first thing that I said, I mean, Arquitectonica is known for their design, right?
Mhm.
Bernardo has defined the skyline of Miami.
Mhm.
So I walk into Arquitectonica, and the first thing that I said is, I'm not a designer.
Mhm.
I'm really good putting together things. I'm really good in construction. I'm really good project manager. Don't put me to design because I'm gonna fail, right? But like Michelle said, it's a lot of different. You can do that. I think that's what I love architecture, because
It's
you can
true.
do so many
Yeah.
different
True.
things and it's still doing the same.
And
That is just amazing.
Yeah, and there's like a preconceived notion that architects are just one thing, but we need to understand
Yeah.
a little bit of everything. We
Yeah.
need to understand
Yeah.
from the developer
like a doctor.
to the contractor.
Yes,
Like a doctor.
exactly.
Yeah, to the engineers, to
Yeah.
MEP, to
Yeah.
structure, to lighting,
You
to
need to understand
landscape. You need to understand
The entire
every single
process.
aspect. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah,
The entire
it's amazing.
process.
So yeah, it's I know I started architecture and interior design, and definitely we need to know a little bit of a lot.
Of a
And
lot.
the
Yeah.
personalities I have sat here, some of them don't like to go to the site
Mhm.
because they only like the creative process or
Yes.
selecting materials and don't like the other part. So
Mhm.
it's also understanding ourselves. What do
Yeah,
we
Right.
want?
yeah.
Right.
What makes us happy?
Exactly.
Because we're gonna do the best when we're doing what
Yes.
we like, what
And
we love.
actually I was listening to a book just this past week by Brené Brown, and she
Mm.
said, we failed the minute we let somebody else define success for us. And
Yeah.
I loved it, because for a long time, for 18 years, but for, I'm gonna say, probably the last 5 years of my career in AECOM,
You
I
could
let
still
I let
be there, and maybe your heart is
yes,
not
exactly.
beating.
I let a preconceived notion of success dictate what I wanted to do, and it took me 2 years to convince myself I was not happy there, right? So the moment that you let somebody else define success for you, or
Yeah.
some
Conceive.
pre-perceived
Notion
of success, that's where you fail, because it's if you're not happy at the end of the day, success is happiness.
Yeah,
right?
and each person has their own definition of what success means to
Exactly.
them. So I think
And
that's
how
important.
did you guys get involved into these groups that are leaders, women leaders in architecture? Tell me
Yeah.
all about it. I want everybody to understand. AIA has another. Is it a chapter?
A committee.
It's a committee. It's a
Mhm.
committee.
dedicated for women.
Mhm.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So I got involved a little bit different than Michelle.
Mhm.
I saw some of the advertising coming in. A little bit more about my journey through architecture is for many years, because I studied in Miami, in Mexico, because I decided not to go to architectural school and I went to construction management school. My process of getting my license in Mexico validated was very lengthy, and when I got here in early 2000s, right? When I started looking into what I needed to do early 2000s, it was extremely expensive. They needed to do an evaluation of every one of my classes. I needed to translate the whole class and description of classes. So long story short, it was very expensive, very lengthy process. Halfway, I kind of gave up. And I remember that I kept asking my supervisor back then, saying, "Hey, I want to do this, but it's very expensive. I can afford it." I mean, I was just, I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, no, we don't pay for that." Right. And it came to the point where I said, "Okay, you don't care. I don't care." And I let it go for 10 years, stood there and everything. Moving forward and fast forward, when I got into a position where it was better to have a license, then they approach me again and say, "Hey, what do you need to do to get your license? Now we're willing to pay for that." Right.
Which you're lucky because
which is
not,
with I
not a
was
lot of
lucky,
lawyers
not
do
not a
that.
lot,
It's
of,
not
not
how
a
it
lot.
happens.
Yeah. So back, I mean, then I took it again and I started again. But part of that not knowing and not wanting to is like that notion of you don't care, I don't care, kept me away not only from pursuing my license, but also kept me away from AIA, kept me away from everything else. So at some point I said, okay, you need to focus back in your career and see what you want to do. So I saw this advertising through AIA saying, "Hey, Women in Architecture." It was an event. And I started attending the events. And as I attend events, I really, it
You
was,
connected.
I
with the
connected
community.
and I started saying, okay, what can I do to help? I attended during the pandemic, that the pandemic happened. I attended some of the events via Zoom, some of the leadership summits that are absolutely amazing via Zoom. And I started to see a trend, something that caught my attention because it wasn't a space for women, created by women, and just
To
not
support.
even
Yes,
supporting.
it's a
It's supporting, right?
Mhm.
Supporting and saying, this is what is happening in the community, and this is where we are, and this is where we're going, right?
Mhm.
It wasn't a pushover like we are strong and it was seeing representation, and I think that's what caught my
Exactly.
attention, right?
Representation in leadership roles, because the
Yeah.
women that were part of the committee and the founding members, they're either firm owners or principals. So it's women in leadership positions
Who
that
are
are surrounded.
the founding members of Women in Architecture?
It's Lourdes Solera, Natividad Soto, Elizabeth Camargo. She's also AIA Florida current president at the moment.
And all of them
Yeah.
are fellows
All of them are
of
fellows. Yeah.
AIA. So we're one of the biggest accomplishments. They both, I think the three of them were Miami AIA presidents and Florida AIA presidents.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So it's a huge representation. And then the energy and I think it's the energy and and everything that Naomi and Vanessa do. I think that also like brought us together and
That's
see
so
what we
beautiful.
couldn't
And
do.
how can an architect that is young and starting be part? What are the requirements?
There's
No?
there's no
None.
written, no, just you don't have to be a licensed architect to partake in the events. You can show up and say, hey, I like what you guys are doing. How can I volunteer? What events do you have coming up? So one thing that Sarah and I have pushed more so during our time of co-chairs is social media, right? Because we want to grab a larger audience than what typically shows up, because it is hard to make people show up after work to an
Yes.
event when
Yes.
everybody wants to
Yeah.
go home,
Yeah.
So, and we've collaborated with a lot of great venues and sponsors that have helped us to entice people to come out and show up. And I think we've been successful in having a bunch of new faces come to our events. And also that's why every 2 years, Women in Architecture, they rotate committee chairs so that each person that comes in new brings in
new
a
people.
fresh perspective and new people.
And it's a different perspective, right? It's
Yeah.
a different ideas. It's a different, what can we do for the community, right? And you see you see and you talk to people and you talk to women in again, I was very fortunate to be the manager of all of female
Yeah.
project managers. And when you're talking to them and you're seeing the dynamics in the office every day, then you see what kind of support
Yeah.
they may need, right? And then you tweak the events a little bit, you do things different,
Yeah.
right?
For example, you do talks about certain topics,
So,
or
Yeah.
what are the programs?
I think one of the
Go ahead.
ones that we brought, it was motherhood talks. So we have panels. We had last year, we had a panel talking about motherhood and the profession in architecture.
Mhm.
What it takes. Are you licensed? Are you not licensed? What happens? How it affected? How
Mhm.
motherhood affected your career?
Yeah.
Funny enough, neither Michelle or I are moms,
Mhm.
but
You led
we
that.
saw that need, right?
Yeah.
And we had a really cool thing. Our moderator was a dad.
No
So-
way.
So it was really cool. And going back to your initial question of what it's needed to be part of it, is really nothing. I mean, we have
Yeah.
guys,
Just want to be part of a
we have
community.
males coming to our events and being super happy and collaborative
Yeah.
and
Oh, they're welcome.
participating. They're
Yeah.
absolutely welcome.
It's your peers, it's your
It's
people.
your
It's
peers.
somebody who understands what you're going through.
Mhm.
And I think early on, my experience into women architecture was a little bit different because, as I said, I had moved down from New York, so I didn't go to school here in Miami, so I didn't know who were the
You
major
didn't-
players,
Exactly.
which firms were doing which projects. So I'm like, I need to integrate myself into the community, and I did that by applying to the grant. So it's for people to also be aware, because unless you go onto the website and search for it, you don't know, right? You don't know what programs are there to help you. So when I met Vanessa and Naomi, the past co-chairs, I think one of the biggest things that was important was one, networking, and also knowing your worth. So we did a panel about interviewing skills and stuff like that, because I guess women are also in a position where, you know, they can have the technical ability, they can have the experience, but unless they advocate for themselves, unless they speak up at work,
They're not
no one is
hired.
gonna
Right.
no one is gonna be like, here, you know,
Mhm.
you have to fight for it, you have
Right.
to ask for it. If you don't ask for
So
it, you're
you
not gonna get
empower
it,
a little bit.
right? So we
Yeah.
talked about, you know, how to empower yourself to negotiate salary, to negotiate a higher position. And it's
That's a
about,
good
yeah,
topic.
so a lot of it, we titled the panel "Knowing Your Worth." You know, how do you value yourself? How do you make your employer aware of your value?
And you
And then
must
that's something that was
know
important.
in current times, has that been like balanced a little bit between salaries of a male architect and a female architect?
That's hard to say, but I think so.
Are we still back?
I think so. No, I think it
Behind?
has been better, but what we are behind is in female licensed,
Opportunities?
female licensed architect.
Mhm.
So we have a bunch
Why?
of statistics.
Because there are
yeah,
mothers that have to dedicate
because
their
they
lives
drop off, right?
They drop off.
They drop
yeah.
off. So by the time you're in architecture school, it's about a 50-50 ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time you get 5 years into the profession, it drops. 10 years into the profession, it drops. Why? Because
Wow.
women become caretakers.
Or also because it's so expensive, as you were saying.
And
is so
because that's so,
expensive.
it's either
Yeah.
they want to start a family, so they drop off
Yep.
a little bit, or the price
you
point,
have
you
to
know.
sacrifice. Well,
Right.
I understand the part that it's expensive because architects really have such importance in how are we going to live,
Yeah.
and they have to be super technical and super knowledgeable, and I understand that that has a cost
Correct.
too.
Right.
But knowing that there are facilitations to get grants and to be financed,
Yeah.
I think that is great news.
Yeah, but also going back to the representation part, right? I mean, I'm 20 plus years in the career, and I'm taking the exams right now because I'm gonna get licensed, even if I get licensed the day before I die. I'm gonna get licensed, right?
You are.
And then but you also see Naomi. Naomi was a young mom. She had to work, and she raised her son, and now he's probably, I don't
Like
know,
20,
20.
yeah.
He's on
No.
his 20s, and he got licensed last year, right? So the fact that you prioritize maybe being a mom, maybe doing something
Mhm.
different, be a caretaker, doesn't mean that you cannot do it in the future,
Correct.
right? The other part also is not only the licensure. Licensure, I think it's important in different many ways. I'm kind of like the oddball in this whole thing because I made a career without having a license.
Exactly. You
But-
proved
Which
that
you
it
can,
did,
which
it-
you
which
can.
you can.
You didn't need it.
I didn't
but-
need it, right?
Mhm.
But the moment that I said, okay, I'm gonna take a turn and I'm gonna look for something else, the roles that I said, oh, that's interesting, were asking for a license.
Mhm.
And I had every single qualification of the book except for a
Except for
license.
that one.
Right? So it opens doors. It's not absolutely necessary, but it opens doors. Right? And it's I think it's a very good thing to have. And it also opens the doors to be more
That's-
women in leadership positions.
Correct,
Being principals and owners, and that opens doors.
And you that have so much work right now, how much time do you have to dedicate for the licensing at this moment?
Oh wow, it's a lot.
So it's a lot. So as
No,
I
it's
said,
not
I don't
easy.
have kids.
That's why
It's
you
not
have
easy.
to do
No,
it
no, no,
little
it's
by
not
little.
easy.
It's-
You have to
It's
prioritize.
like a part-time job.
It's a part-time
Wow.
job. You have to prioritize, right? You mentioned I'm a two times Ironman finisher, so I'm very much into. I like running and cycling and
Mhm.
training. I love it, and it was my life for a lot of years. But the moment that
You
I
had to
finally
quit.
fast forward a little bit, I was part of participating and being part of it, AIA and
Mhm.
networking. Right, I was
Mhm.
invited to a NOMA um, panel, and I was a moderator, and we were talking about foreign architects seeking licensure. Right, being in that panel, knowing Naomi and they inviting me to that panel, actually opened the door for me to talk to somebody
Yeah.
in NCARB and having whatever was stock on stock and having
Mhm.
my paperwork approved. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Especially
Right.
in Miami, that
Especially in
we have a
Miami.
lot of Latin American community, a lot of immigrants coming
Right.
in that are licensed in their own countries, but when they come here, it's
You
not
can't
you
use
can't
It's
you
not
can't use
easy.
it.
No, it's like you have to start again.
Kind of, yes. I mean, the reason why I didn't have to start again and going back to they have to get all of their curriculum that they
Mhm.
studied translated,
Right.
studied, analyzed, and they can go back and say, you
No.
still need to take these many additional classes to be in the pair, right?
Mhm.
In my case, I'm licensed in Mexico, so because
So
of
not even the experience is a weight.
not anymore. Not anymore.
Because there was a moment.
There was
For so
a
many
way
years of
to get
experience,
it.
you could get ahead.
Yes, there was a way to get it. They're kind of like stepping away from that, and the requirements for the experience it's very heavy. It's not easy to achieve.
Okay.
So
But it's also a personal journey. I think
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself, okay, what are what am I going to get from this? Is the time commitment, is the financial commitment going to be worth it to me in the end? So I think it is something personal if people want to achieve it. But I think it's also a lifeline, if something were to happen in your own company,
Mhm.
you have this,
Yes.
this
Tool or-
this
Tool,
tool, right?
yeah.
That's a good word. This tool to be that opens doors for you anywhere else that you
Mhm.
go, because once you have it from one state, you can apply for reciprocity for another state, and you're not stuck to something. You're not stuck to one company. You're not stuck to one
Right.
location. So it gives you a certain amount of freedom that
And
Yeah.
what
that
would be
you
your
wouldn't normally
recommendation
have.
for a recent architectural graduate? If he graduates, what would be the steps that you, after all your experience, will take them to tell them to take?
Well,
Start your
yes,
license
NCARB
immediately.
is
What would be?
the entity that controls the registration, and they require a certain amount of hours. So I think my advice is something that I did early on in my career too, is not commit yourself to one company. Like early on in your career, try different things, because each architectural firm
Mhm. Does
specializes in
something
different
in
types of
different
design.
things. Yeah.
So try here, try there, get experience in construction, get experience in
Mhm.
design, get
To
experience
see
in
what really you
yes,
like.
Yeah.
learn
What are you
learn
good
the
at?
software, learn the techniques, learn Revit, learn CAD, learn
Mhm.
all these things that you're building your tool chest.
Yeah.
And so that when you have all the tools and you collected experience, you can understand, okay, this is what I want to focus on, or this is what I want to pursue. So I think for early on for graduates, I think it's get your hours, do your time, and not think that it's kind of like if I don't move on from this job, it's going to be the end of it. It's no, there's opportunity to jump around early on your career because you're going for the long haul.
Yeah. And the other part is think about licensure as a goal. It could be close, it could be far, but just think about that.
Have that goal.
Have that goal, and then just get to that, and things get derailed.
Same as a
and
marathon or
same as a marathon, right?
You train. One day you make it.
It is a long path, and
Yeah.
you're gonna have to be consistent of what you do, and it's gonna have to be a lot of time management. You're gonna have to prioritize certain things. I think that's why a lot of women don't do it, because they have to prioritize being a mom, a wife, a caretaker, or something else, right?
Yeah.
Maybe growing your career, right?
Yeah.
But I think the same way that you prioritize that, it comes to a moment that has to be your priority, right?
Mhm.
And I had to say, okay, I have a strict no registering for any race until I finish, right?
Okay.
So I'm in the
Yeah.
You
path
do
right
some
now.
sacrifices because
It's some
you
Yeah.
sacrifices, yeah.
And
Say.
it's also different for people that have been out of school for a long time, for
Right.
several years, because you're also training your brain how to study.
Yes.
Like you're coming
And
home from work
technology
and you're opening a
changes
book. Yeah, it's
so
different.
fast.
Yeah.
But
So some people may feel obsolete. I used to use CAD, and now there's so many other
yeah,
softwares.
fortunately enough, they don't test on that.
Okay.
But this is the other part. This is the other part, right? I was talking to my husband about this. I think over the weekend is I learned to do things in a different way. I went to
Yeah.
school in Mexico. I think for foreign trained architects,
Totally.
it's more difficult because you learn to do things in one
Construction
way.
methods are different.
Construction methods, the way that you plan for solar and for different even soils,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yes.
completely different.
True.
And so now I'm seeing myself retraining and rethinking of everything that I learned when I went to school almost 30 years ago. So it's not been easy because I have to relearn a lot of different
Mhm.
things. So I think for young professionals educated in
But
the
that's
US,
also joyful because you are
You're a continuous
fresh.
you're
student.
continuing
Yeah.
study.
All the time.
Yes, it is. It is joyful, and the younger you are, the more you enjoy it. The older you are, like me, it's like, what do you do if you have this mechanical system? I call the mechanical engineer. I don't
Yeah.
know. So it's a little bit frustrating, but don't let that frustration derail you from your goals.
Mhm.
And it's just a different way to learn, and it's actually it's good material. It helps on your
Yeah.
professional life. It is.
Totally.
It's sometimes you say, oh my God, this is useless. I'm going to call the engineer. I'm going to tell me what to do. Yes. But then if you understand the concept behind it, then you can tell the engineer, okay, you can have an educated conversation with the engineers. Right. So my recommendation to the young architects is study and go through the material. Don't get discouraged if you fail, because you're gonna
No.
fail the test.
It's part of it. Failing
It's
You
is
have
part
to
of
be
part of
it.
it.
patient with your process.
It's
You-
part of the
very
process.
patient.
And one day you'll have it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I failed project management after being a project manager for over
Imagine.
15 years. I failed the portion of the exam that was project
Because the
management.
theory is different than
It is.
reality.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
What you do in practice every day is not necessarily
It's
what
not
the exams
necessarily
are.
what the
So
exams.
that's
yeah.
something that we try to tell people, because a lot of people is like, I don't even know where to start. Like there's so much resource material. There's so many books. There's guidelines. They're coming in from different resources, and there's like, where do I even begin? And most people begin with the first exam, which is
Mhm.
practice management. But in reality, the first exam is a subject matter that people are not exposed to at work
Yep.
because it's dealing with contracts, it's dealing with taxes, it's dealing with business structure.
Wow.
So that's not what you do on your day to
No.
day. So
No.
it kind of like switches it up a little bit, and you have to step back from what you do, and you're like, okay, I can't think about what I do at my job applies to what this is. So you have to go through the content to the material. So a lot of people that come up to us, they're like, we do get recent graduates from and FIU and some Miami-Dade students as well. Like, I want to be licensed. I have no idea where to start. And then, we can, because Sarah's on the foreign licensure path and I recently passed my exam. So we can say, hey, this is where I started. Start here, and then you'll grow your way. Think of it like one exam at a time, because if you kind of you can get overwhelmed by the bigger
totally.
picture,
Yes,
of
yes.
course.
Yeah, and actually, going back to what we do in women in architecture, right? That's another conversation that we're bringing to the table. What to do? We're partnering with young professionals, and we're partnering with
I was
with
going to
different
ask you, you do
with different
mentoring and
resources.
teaching.
No, we don't
to
do
young
teaching.
professionals?
Young professionals come to our events and they
Yeah.
ask us questions, and we guide them as
Yeah.
to where they can find the resources. Last year we did a panel with young architect, so he's also a resource for the ARE exams. And he talked about, like, this is what you need to do, this is where you need to study. So what we do is provide
The
our
resources.
community with
Yeah.
information,
Yeah.
with
And
information
also,
and with grants.
With
Based on
grants.
your experience, you share your knowledge.
Correct.
And
Correct.
your what
Correct.
not to do.
Yes.
And what are would you say, the main events of Women in Architecture of the year? Because I know you have some main events that happen.
Well,
all
this
the
year's a
time.
big year for us. Go
This
ahead,
year is
yeah.
a big
What's
year.
happening?
We're very happy and we're very excited because this year Women in Architecture is turning 15. It's been 15 years
Wow.
old.
Mhm.
15 years since
program
Lourdes and
started.
Nati created this committee, just
Mhm.
focusing on bringing women and bringing representation. So and then also we're celebrating that this year Vanessa Smith Torres is the 10th female president for AIA Miami.
Mhm.
So we're very exciting about that.
When is that?
So we're celebrating throughout the year
Okay.
we're coming and we're bringing
Like
that
it's
up.
an anniversary
It's
year.
an anniversary year.
Mhm.
But every other year, and I'm gonna say started in 2016, I believe.
Mhm.
Women in Architecture have a leadership summit,
Mhm.
Okay.
and it's usually a weekend, either one day or two. And there's a number of events going there. So this year we're gonna have our summit October 3rd and 4th.
Mhm.
And we're in the process of organizing and putting everything together.
We'll be sending the
We'll
save
be
the dates
sending
soon.
the save the
in the
dates.
summit, you have to be part of the organization.
No,
What
not
are
at
the-
all. So the summit is more like a one-day conference, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And it's there we have keynote speakers, professional women in Miami, even outside of Miami. We have panels focusing not just on architecture, but also on negotiation and speaking and communication and these
Yeah.
kinds of things.
What about
This-
sustainability?
And
That's a big-
sustainability,
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, women that have opened their own practice, women that are mothers. So we kind of like
So
bring
there's
this
a
back.
lot
Yes, there's a lot of
There's a
to
lot.
learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
there's
choose.
a lot to learn. You can
Yes.
choose, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes,
And it's a great event. Yeah.
it's a great event that is every other year. So
Mhm.
this is the year for that.
And I don't have to be a licensed architect.
No, you don't.
I can
No,
be there.
everyone
you
can
be
attend.
there.
Yeah.
Everybody can attend.
I'd love to be there.
Yeah, and then we have another key event which is called 8x8x2.
Mhm.
This year we're
8x8x2.
it's a woman presenting a projects in 2 slides per project.
Nice.
So every year we have that event is part of our signature event, and we've been trying to do different topics every year. We have been doing sustainability
Mhm.
and women in
government.
government, and I
Hmm.
mean we have been doing a lot of different
There's
things, and
so much.
sometimes it's 8x8, sometimes it's 6x6, sometimes
10.
it's 10x10.
Now it has to be
Yeah.
about
So-
artificial intelligence or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So this year is going to be a 10x10x2, and we're
Okay.
gonna have our 10 past female presidents presenting.
10 projects.
We're still deciding what we're going to do, but it's going to
Okay.
be our 10 presidents presenting into the
Yeah.
audience, and that is going to be the opening event for the summit. So that's going to be October 3rd.
That's
Yeah, the
great. And
Friday.
how do you come up with all these ideas? You meet on a
Yes,
weekly
we do.
basis.
We meet, yeah.
Yeah.
We meet.
You meet in person, the members of Women Architecture, or
No,
you meet-
well, Sarah and I meet frequently because we're the co-chairs of Women in Architecture, and we have several events that we have to coordinate throughout the year. So we hit certain targets.
Mhm.
The Women's Leadership Committee has the past co-chairs and the founding members. We meet about once a week or now twice a week, just so that we can coordinate the schedule of the event. So it is something that has a lot of planning. And I think something that Sarah and I have worked on during our co-chair is we've expanded, because we want to expand the community, right? Not just to architects, but interior designers, women that work in government, city boards, women that work in public works, art and public spaces, engineers. So it's something that we're trying to expand, that it's still in the AEC world, but it's adjacent, and it's so that we realize, we're kind of all under the same umbrella.
True.
Right.
And we all need
yes,
each other.
and
We'll
we all
need
need
each
each
other.
other, and
Need
we
each other.
especially in our business, right?
Yes.
We
Right.
we need someone in construction, just like we need someone
We need the
in
engineer, we
lighting,
need
just
the
like we need
interior
someone in social
designer.
media
Exactly.
and PR that can help
That's
us communicate.
great.
So
Yeah.
that's something that
you
we've
are
been
adding
expanding the
more.
network.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And the other
Excellent.
thing that we're very, very fortunate is we still have the original, the founders and the past chairs very active and helping us. Sometimes we've been in and at times that our venue falls through the last week,
Yeah.
and we call them and we said we need a venue, and they get the resources,
find
we
it.
put everything together, and we resolve it. So it's really good, because I think it's a good synergy of what the committee was. The committee was created to support women, and I think that original idea we have carried through that.
And you
there's-
feel supported.
we feel supported.
Even though you
Yeah.
are leaders in it,
Yes,
you feel
we
supported.
feel supported.
by-
And
Absolutely.
Before.
yes, and that I remember the first event of women in architecture I went, it was at 8x8x2. So
Okay.
I think that is one of the key events where we have that they have been carried every year, and that is like a signature
Yeah.
event. We're trying to do our own signature. We're trying to do the motherhood talks, a part of
That's
our
beautiful.
signature, because
When do they happen? The motherhood talks. How
it's going to
often?
happen
Soon.
soon. We're kind of we were tracking for May 15th, but we're
Yeah.
it seems like it's gonna be pushed towards the end of the month.
Okay. I think Noma is having an event.
Noma is
soon.
having an
Yeah.
event.
Yes,
I
we
think
work
on the
with Noma,
16th.
Soflo Noma
Yeah,
as well.
I think on the 16th they're having an event.
Exactly.
So we're talking, and like the first session with the women talk, the mom talks, was the just the profession, right? We had Jackie Toussaint, who is absolutely amazing, talking about her journey about motherhood. And then we had somebody that was like, we had Vanessa,
Yeah.
her baby was very, very small. We have Naomi, who had like a 20-year-old, and we have like a mid-range, one of the girls that works that I work with.
Stories.
It was just the stories and talking about being a mom and being
Yeah, because I was talking yesterday. We were traveling to Corinth to the show, and some of the girls were saying sometimes you feel guilt because you are doing your job and leaving the house.
yeah.
But we also want to have our careers and evolve and grow.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's difficult.
It is
Yeah.
difficult.
It's
And
a great
this
conversation.
this year is gonna be Mom Boss. So we're invited some key women that are either business owners, or very high up on the principals, to talk about raising babies and a business, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
because again, we're going back to the representation, right?
Yeah.
When you see, and I think one of the really cool parts of that I didn't know until probably a few weeks ago, is we had students in that motherhood talk. We had students coming to the motherhood talk, and to see what it was about and how to handle their future, how they see their future,
Right.
as
'Cause they have doubts. They
parents.
don't
Of
know what to
course.
do, what to
Absolutely.
choose. It's
Yeah,
it's
so
a
it was
really
really
good
it was
topic.
really
I
cool.
can really invite a few of my colleagues.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And we had a new collaboration this year with MCAD, which is Miami Center for
Mhm.
Architecture and Design. They do also a lot of programs with architectural firms throughout the city, and they have talked with them and talk about their work. They also do tours in downtown Miami. And this year we collaborated with MCAD to have a panel regarding the intersection of art and architecture. And we had Pat Bosch from Perkins and Will,
Right.
who's a
We
major
were
architect
there.
here in Miami.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Uh-huh,
guys
that
helped
was
us
great.
with the event. And Jessica Goldman from Goldman Properties, and she's obviously one of the founders of the Wynwood Walls and Globe and Gobo Arts. So it's something that we're, as I said before, expanding our network, and we're going more into the art space and bringing that
Yeah.
community in with the architecture space.
No,
So
you
it's
guys
great.
are doing amazing, and you're definitely some women that we
Mhm.
look up to.
Thank you.
And I love to continue sharing everything you do.
Yeah.
We love to be part, at least with the cameras and the
Yeah.
action, because we want to recap every single of those moments. I was going to ask you, do you have anything recorded from all those past panels?
Recorded.
Recorded?
Like
No.
in video? No.
No.
Because that is
No,
what's
well, what you've
happening
given
now.
us. Yeah,
That's
what
what's
Architecture
happening
Authority
now.
has given us.
We
Yeah.
do like if you do a panel, you can
Yeah.
make it live or record it and then share it, and people that didn't
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
they can access the information.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we don't know you guys do these type of events. We don't know that we're free or open to the public.
Like
And
the women's
yeah.
talk, you should record it every time.
And one of the reasons we try to make it free, and I don't think people understand this, is that AI is also a nonprofit. Like we barely have any budget to work with, right? So
How do you manage?
how do we manage all of these events? And
With
it's all
sponsors.
sponsorships.
It's
So
all
we
sponsors,
ask venues and we ask sponsors, hey, can we host an event here? You know, how can we help you so that you help us, and we to help each
Mhm.
other. So for example, we'll ask a venue, I'll bring in our community. We have interior designers, architects coming into your space. You'll have their information so that you can also sell your product, or
Right.
what is it that you want to provide to them, or what is your service. And then that's how we've been so lucky and fortunate
Yeah.
that we've been able to do all these events and not charge, because we've had sponsorships, and
Yeah.
and fundraising is
That's
also a
great.
major part in being a committee chair, because you have to keep these events going.
Yeah.
But how do you
Right.
keep them going if you don't have no
If you
money?
don't have-
It's through sponsorship.
Yeah.
So industry partners, what vendors,
Vendors,
materials.
we have
Vendors,
Those
materials,
are
yeah.
the ones that can
showrooms,
sponsor.
Yeah.
Showrooms.
And then the events that we do charge, for example, the Women's Leadership Summit is a big event. It's our big fundraising event. And the money that we raise from that goes directly to our grants. So the money that we raise is the money that we give back to women that are
Wow.
applying for their
How many
licensure.
grants you give?
It's been
Yeah.
5 years,
Yeah.
and it's been, if I'm gonna speak out of memory, but I'm gonna say it's about $25,000 that have been given
We've
throughout the
raised,
years
with the
Wow.
past
with the
co-chairs,
past co-chairs.
up to this point over
Over
25,000.
25,000
to help.
Yeah.
And to get the grant, it's maybe a contest or
No, it's an
It's
application
an
process.
application process, and it's lengthy. It's the applicants have to put together a portfolio. They have to put together a letter of intent.
Mhm.
They have to have proof that they are
that they need
actively
it.
seeking
Yeah.
licensure, right?
Okay.
Because it's like, oh yeah, I want to register, but I haven't even started. I don't have an NCAR record. Then done.
No.
It has to
Yeah.
be
Someone that really wants it.
Someone that is actively in the middle pursuing their
the
exams.
middle of pursuing the exams.
Correct.
Because it's again, it's a lengthy process. It's 6 different tests, and they are challenging, and they're expensive, each
Mhm.
test, and if you fail, you have to
Do it again.
do it again.
Yeah.
There are companies that are really good, that if you pass the test, they reimburse you for the test, but there are companies they
Yeah.
don't. that
And actually,
don't.
that's a good point. And I think that's advice that I would give also to young graduates or young professionals, is do your research on companies that you want to
Yeah.
work for, not just the position or the project or your salary, but also what benefits do they offer in terms of professional development. Are they going to approve your NCARB hours so you can pass your AXP? Are they going to give you experience in different areas of the design process, right? Are you going to be able to go on the site? if you pass an exam, are they going to reimburse you for that? Do they actually push for licensure? Because there's some companies that don't, and there's some companies that do. So it's important. I think if you know this is important for you, then find a company that is also important for them.
Yeah, and there's many companies that really support by paying like platforms to study, like Amber Book. So they pay for that. You have access to Amber Book, but again, Amber Book is something that you have to show proof that you are registered and you have a date for your exam.
Yeah,
right. So you have to be serious about really following and pursuing and finishing to apply for the
and I'm sure
grant.
you'd be giving a lot more if you had more sponsors. So the call for everyone out there. That
we are currently looking for sponsors for the Women Leadership Summit.
We're wrapping up the sponsorship package, and I think the summit is one of the biggest fundraising events. So we're gonna be looking for sponsors, and I think it's a really good cause. We're very excited. I'm gonna say that at least in the years that Michelle and I have been involved, we have given grants to every single applicant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because not a lot of people apply, right? I think this past year, that's the problem. This past year,
I think they don't know.
I think that they don't know.
The more you talk about this at every event, there will be more.
This past year we had 7 applicants, and the year before we had I think 5.
I think the year past I went down to 3. Yeah,
3. So it's been increasing. I think the fact that we had the talk with Young Architect Forum before, and we talk about the grant there that opened doors, and they had, I mean, it really opened the doors, and we had a lot of more people applying. I think we're gonna be in trouble if we get more applications because we're gonna.
We also did it
at
UM.
We want to help everybody,
and we also want to get students aware, because when you're a student, you also don't know that all of these programs are available to you, and not just Women in Architecture. There's the Emerging Professionals Committee. There's SoFlo Noma that has also their scholarships. Yeah,
they also have grants.
Okay, so you can also be wait for them to find other institutions that can help.
Yes.
So
correct.
Definitely, I want to thank you on behalf of the community for everything you do.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for that, for being so inspiring, for giving it all out there, because this is your time and you're dedicating it to all of us. So thank you so much for what we do. Thank you for coming. It's been 50 minutes of podcast.
Oh my
Believe
God.
it or not.
That went fast.
So I really hope that you come back. We talk about something else.
Anytime.
Of course.
Yeah, and maybe with more members. I think we can fit 3, 4.
At least another one.
We should bring maybe the past
So
coaches.
It would be good to communicate all of these continuously. I think that's needed, because you do an excellent job.
No, and thank you to Architecture Authority and yourself, because the content that you guys give us, like, that's what we put on our social media, and that's how we help, expand
we
our
want to
events
help more, so count with us.
And our
Thank you
scholarships.
so much.
Thank you. And until next time.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Creative Talks podcast. Your 5-star reviews really help us continue what we do. Please rate your listening experience, and let's keep building this beautiful community together. For exclusive access to more design content, visit thearchitecturalauthority.com or download our app from the App Store or Google Play. Until next time, take care and keep creating.